everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Huck. Today we are doing a currently reading update to chat about what I've been reading, what's been going on. There are people doing like yard work, so you might hear, I don't know if you'll be able to hear the like humming of a lawnmower, so sorry if that is distracting. But yeah, what's been going on? For one thing, I'm very excited to be back sitting in front of my bookcases. If you saw my last two videos, I talked about that I have been having some back problems. And while I am not at 100% just yet, I am doing a lot better. And obviously I'm able to sit in a chair again, because before my back pain was preventing me from like sitting in chairs for any period of time. Now I can do a short period of time. So we're filming here. I'm very excited. I much prefer sitting than standing for filming. But yeah, so that's kind of the update on my life and what's been going on. But let's get into the books. So the last book that I completed was Knot of Shadows by Lois McMaster-Bujold. This is a book in the Penric and Desdemona series of novellas. It's probably book like 11 or 12. It's, you know, quite a few books in this novella series. But in it, we are following Penric, who is a temple sorcerer. So he's very like scholarly and unassuming, but part of being a temple sorcerer means that he is, I wouldn't say possessed, but he shares his body with a chaos demon who he has named Desdemona, and the two of them are buddies, and it's a very like fun, feel-good series, but I really also enjoy the world. It has this kind of cozy feel, but it has a very interesting kind of religious-based magic system, which is based on serving the 5 gods of this world. So yeah, I always enjoy this series. This is the latest one in the series. This one I think was a little bit more sad than some of the previous books because it does involve there's like a mystery element to it, and it does involve the death of a child. So, you know, warning for that. But overall, the series is pretty feel good, but I think that this one was like a little bit sadder than some of the previous ones in the series. Then for what I am reading right now, I'm only reading one book at the moment. I recently have been kind of trying to limit the number of books that I read at a time. I used to really only read one book at a time. Then since joining BookTube, I had gotten into the habit of having multiple books going at once, at least like one physical book and one audiobook, which I still do sometimes, but I do think that a lot of times if I'm like really enjoying a book, I like to just completely focus on that book. And right now I'm really enjoying the book that I'm currently reading, which is very exciting, which is The Hidden City by Michelle West. So this is the first book in the House Wars series, which is part of a larger series. Michelle West's books are one of those ones where there's like multiple series that are kind of interlocking series within this larger world. And so there are various places, there are different places that you can start. I had actually read another book in this world that's part of a duology, but I decided to like not finish that duology for now and kind of start at a different place, which is here. And I'm really, really enjoying this. So this is following, we start out following this man named Wrath, who lives by himself. He's very like, I work alone, I have no connections to anyone, and he's sort of a thief. He like steals artifacts from this like underground city that he found, and then he like resells them, and that's sort of, but he keeps it very much a secret, and that's part of why he works alone, is because he doesn't want his secret to go out, because this is kind of his like his secret source of income, because he's the only one that knows about this like underground city as far as he knows. But then one day there is this girl who tries to steal from him, and he chases her down and kind of ends up taking her in, and he doesn't really understand why, but there's something about her that he just feels like a connection to her for some reason and sort of takes her under his wing. And then she starts sort of collecting other children from around the city, and he's like very not into it. He's like, I try to have this solitary life where I live alone. It was like a horrible lapse of judgment for me to take you in. Why are you bringing all these other children to my house? But she has this real feeling of like, I need to help other people, and that, like, you know, she didn't have a home, and then she finally found safety to some degree when she was taken in by Wrath, and now she wants to extend that to other people. So she's kind of finding and taking in all of these other children. And then I think they're going to kind of get enlisted into Wrath's thievery work. I don't really know. But this has been so much fun. I am about halfway through the book. It is a very long book. It's like 750 pages. It's quite chunky. And I'm about halfway in, but I am really enjoying this. It is so much fun. Her writing is a little bit, I don't know, idiosyncratic. Like, it has some, like, she has some real idiosyncrasies to the way she writes. It took me a second to get used to, but once I got used to it, I just really love her writing. I find it very easy to read, and I just like get very sucked into the book and find it just really easy to keep reading. And I'm really enjoying the characters. This is very much a character-driven story. Like, there's not a lot of plot, so I have read 350 pages, and like, honestly, not that much has happened so far. Like, it's pretty much just been like this girl like collecting other children in various ways. And there have been hints to some other things that will come in the plot. Like, there is going to be more about this sort of underground city. I'm sure, I think that there's something bad is going to happen with that. I think that, you know, some of the characters might have magic. Wrath has kind of a mysterious past that we will find out more about. So like, there's definitely hints to the ways in which the story and characters and world are going to expand, but it is not very plot heavy so far. But I am like living for it. I am just enjoying this so much. I've already ordered the second book, which I had to like restrain myself. I got like a quarter of the way in and was like ready to order the rest of the series, and I was like, look, get halfway into the book, then you can order one more book in the series. But yeah, so I am very excited about this. If I, you know, continue to love it and continue on in the series, I have committed myself to quite a lot, because I think there are currently, like, counting all of the kind of interconnected series, I think there are about 16-ish books at the moment, all of which are between like 600 and 900 pages. And I think she's still writing, so I think there's gonna end up being like 20 to 22 books in this world total. So like, this, if I continue to like this is quite a commitment. But anyway, I'm loving this, having a great time with it. And this is the only book that I am currently reading. Because I'm enjoying it so much, I really wanted to just focus on this. Then, for what I'm going to read next, I have a few options. So my next physical read, I don't think, like, so the second book in this series is going to come soon in the mail. I think I will probably read at least some book in between, just because these are very long, so I might read something shorter in between. But I think I'm gonna probably try to read the second book this month as well. We'll see. But the shorter book I am considering reading in between is, for one of them is a reread, which is The Beast Player by Naoko Uehashi. I read this maybe 3 years ago or something. I don't know, it was a couple years ago. And I had kind of mixed feelings about it, because I really enjoyed the writing and I loved the first half of the book. It's very atmospheric, and also has these great like spring vibes to it, because it, the first half is a lot about beekeeping and just like running around in the field. The second half of the book had a very different like plot and tone to it, and so I didn't really like that tone shift so much. However, since reading this, for one thing, this is a book that's kind of like stuck in my mind, and I do think about it every once in a while, so I kind of want to revisit it. And also I have found out that this is actually originally 2 books that were kind of combined into one book, which sort of explains the shift between the first half of the book and the second half of the book, because they're actually 2 separate books, like within the same series. So I think that I want to reread this, kind of going in knowing what to expect, knowing that it is actually 2 separate books and that there is going to be kind of a tone shift, and I think that I will be able to appreciate it more. And I just feel like this will be a nice like springtime read. Also, I recently got the sequel to this, which I actually just realized I didn't bring over here, but it is The Beast Warrior. And so I would like to read that also. I have not read that one yet. And so, but I wanted to reread the first one before reading the second book. So I want to try and get to both The Beast Player and Beast Warrior this month. So these are some shorter ones that I might try to like fit in between some of the Michelle West books if I continue reading more of them this month. Then in terms of audiobooks, I have 2 options for audiobooks. One of them I'm definitely going to read, one of them I'm like not sure. So the one I'm not sure about is actually another reread, which is Shadowfell by Juliet Marillier. This is one of her YA fantasy series, and honestly this is one of my less favorite series from her, so I wasn't initially planning to reread it, just because I don't like it as much as some of her other stuff. But I recently was thinking like maybe I should give it another shot, and also it's been quite a while since I read this. I read this series I think before I was on BookTube, so I would like to be able to refresh my memory, maybe do a review for it if I have enough to say about it. This is the first book in a trilogy, so I could reread the whole trilogy. All of the audiobooks are on Scribd. So I'm kind of going back and forth about whether I want to reread this or not, just because, like, as I said, it's one of my less favorite ones, and so I'm not sure if I really want to spend time rereading it, but I also kind of want to give it a second chance. We'll see what happens. But another book that I'm not sure when exactly this month I'm going to get to, but I definitely want to read this month, is Empire of Gold by S.A. Chakraborty. I just got this. I actually haven't even hauled it yet. But I read the second book, Kingdom of Copper, in March. What month are we in? In March. It'll be in my March wrap-up. But suffice to say, I enjoyed it a lot, much more than I was actually expecting to, and so I want to move on, or want to continue on in the series. So I picked up the third book. I have been listening to these as audiobooks, but I do like having the physical book to either track progress, or sometimes I just like there are parts that I want to physically read and stuff like that. So I want to get the physical book to follow along with. So this will definitely be happening sometime in April. I'm just not sure if this is going to be like my next audiobook or not, especially because this is also a book that I want to really be able to focus on. So I don't want to be reading like multiple books at once when I read this. Although this is another quite chunky book. This one, yeah, is about 700, maybe 750 pages also. So this is also a pretty chunky one. So that is kind of what my reading plans are for the first half of the month, at least. I'll probably do another one of these currently reading check-in update things halfway through the month, once I've hopefully read a couple of these. But yeah, I would love to know, how's your reading going? What are you reading? How's it been going? All of that. But thank you all for watching, and until next time, bye!